think I made that right. Let's see. Oh, that made our mic go.
Sorry, sorry in case anyone's watching on headphones. Just went.
Psh. All right, I think the music is low enough.
Hello.
Is it low enough? It's like it's playing a little bit in the background, I hope. That is the purpose, to have like this chill kind of music in the background. Welcome to Craft and Chat.
Welcome, everybody.
One of the last sessions, actually. I think we're going to have one more session next week, and then was this supposed to be? Yeah, one more session next week, and then it's back to quiz time. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for that, because Matt has been looking forward to it.
Been itching to get back to it. But I will say, what a journey it has been. I am immensely proud of us and happy that we did it. It's super cool. For those of you who are completely new or have just found us randomly, hi, I'm Louisa.
And I'm Gea.
And this is Craft and Chat, where we literally just craft and chat. So that's all it is. We've been doing a little knit along. So many of you will have maybe also joined, maybe with some scrap yarn, or some of you may have actually gotten the kit silk to work along with us. And we are knitting the Suki Slipover, which is a free pattern that's available on hubby.com, DE.co.uk, depending on where you're joining us from.
SE.
SE, etc., etc. IO, I don't know. But yeah, it's been a really amazing journey so far. We discovered the origin of some of my mistakes, and Gea actually had to help me ultimately by frogging a lot and having me re-knit stuff, which is a good teaching moment. Turns out that I was flipping my project unknowingly, so I would be halfway through a right side row, so a knit row, put the project down, pick it up again, and for some reason continue on a purl row, so essentially
going back,
stop halfway through and knit back, and then start knitting again, so then I would get these holes in my project that I couldn't explain and couldn't figure out how to.
And I couldn't figure it out either, because I thought she would just drop a stitch, and then I would frog that stitch, and I'd be like, no, it's the stitch next to it that needs to be frogged. And I kept frogging the stitch next to it.
And it just
and I was like,
align.
okay, now we have this huge frogged section. Maybe it's next. It's the next one. And then I kept having this loop coming from the side, and I was like, that is so strange that the length is coming from this side. It should come from underneath, right? From this dropped stitch. Yeah. So I just didn't understand what was going on.
Basically what is happening is I make advanced mistakes. I don't do beginner mistakes.
Dropping stitches? No.
No. That would be too
improvised
simple.
German short rows.
Just trying incorrect German short rows by accident is the way to go in the middle of a project on the front piece where they're not supposed to be. German short rows is a technique that you would use. A lot of times you do it on the back to shape the back of the neckline to give you like an extra short row to kind of make so that everything kind of aligns nicely.
Yeah.
And I know this because in customer service we actually get quite a lot of questions about it, so despite never having knit them myself, I'm actually really good at explaining them.
Short rows are really, really good for other techniques as well, for socks and for making I don't know, even baby pants.
Yeah,
and
they most commonly in our patterns crop up in sweaters. That's why, it's the most common questions I get is I don't quite understand what I'm supposed to be doing here. So it's really bizarre sometimes, and this project's been amazing for this, of learning some of the techniques that I've been able to explain to people without ever having actually done them myself, which is a really fun kind of aspect of this job, that you sometimes have to help people with a project that is way more advanced than your own skill level. But that's just because you have to have a really good theoretical understanding of how it's done rather than a practical understanding.
But nonetheless, the mistake has been discovered. Oh my god, our
yarns
are getting married indeed. They're eloping.
Yes.
But so far, I think that you are furthest in today's project.
Yeah, so since
have disappointed again.
You have not. You would never. But since there was no way to fix this other than frogging, I'm not as far as I would need. I need to be a few more centimeters up before. So I'm currently basically, we've already tied off for the armholes, and I'm now working this way up until I get to the point where I'm going to have to start binding off for the neckline in the middle, and then finish the shoulder pieces individually. So I was hoping to be here today, but I'm kind of here right now.
But what about your decreases on the sides?
Didn't say to do any yet.
Is this because...
Oh, it says work decreases for the neckline.
Yeah.
But oh, okay. Because I'm here. I thought I would start doing the decreases for the neckline after this.
Let's see. Because I can't remember how it went.
Yeah, because it says work even until the armhole measures 17 centimeters. Mm-hmm. And then it says work decreases for the neck. I read that as you work even until then, and I'm at like 15 centimeters. So I have like 2 or 3 more rows. And then I'm going to need to start doing decreases for the neckline, right?
Wait a second.
Yeah. I hope we don't.
Yeah, you have to get to 15 centimeters, right?
Yeah, 17, but yes.
17 centimeters.
Because I'm doing a size large.
Okay. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to get to that.
We start doing decreases, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to be today. But I'm almost there. We'll get there today, and then you can show me how to do the decreases.
Perfect.
Because that is, again, a technique I don't know yet.
It's actually quite easy. But you would probably, as a beginner, would need to use a stitch marker. Yeah. To remember what kind of decreases, if it goes to the right or if it goes to the left. Yeah. The reason why I am so behind with the Suki, I haven't even split the project into pieces, is because I started on a new project. So me and my closest friend, and also knit bestie. Sorry, you are top 2 knit bestie.
I saw the results of her knitting, and yes. I too would want her to be my knit bestie because it's incredible. You are welcome to join us. Like shout out to Erica. Yes, incredibly talented. Like,
she is very, very, very talented. I wish she would post more on her social media because she does some incredible projects. So shout out to Erica for being just a queen. But we have decided that we wanted to finally have a KAL together. We haven't had one for over, I would say, 1.5 2 years. Right before the last KAL we've had was while I was pregnant. So it's been a while. So now we have decided on a vest. So we are going to make a hobby pattern as well. It's a hobby and pom-pom combo collab called the Amelia vest, I think. And it is really, really pretty. And I love the pattern repeat. It's so much fun to do. And even if it's still a vest, mind you. It's a vest, but it's a vest that is like a cardigan, so it has buttons in the front, which technically is quite annoying if you have to purl 269 stitches back, right? Because that's on the wrong side. 269, that's a lot of stitches.
That is a lot of stitches.
But the pattern itself is actually quite fun because you don't have to purl back. It's not stockinette, it's a broken rib pattern. So it's a repeat of 4 rows. I know that there's a lot of crocheters watching us and they're like, what is she even talking about? This is like... Girl, whatever. I'm just going to show you what it looks like so that you guys
This is like when I tell my friends about like D&D and they're just like, I'm like, no, your wisdom modifier. And they're like, All
right, weirdo. So here it is. I brought it here with me. See, I'm like, me and the greens. Yeah. I'm in a very green-blue mood. So this is the wrong side of the project. And this is what it looks like on the right side. Look at that cutie patootie. Isn't that cute? I think that pattern is so pretty. I am, however, modifying it just overly slightly. The pattern itself is asking for a, I believe it's 4mm and 4.5mm needles. So 4 for the rib at the bottom and 4.5 for the pattern itself. But I pushed it to 5 and 5.5 because on the finished pattern, I know that the fabric is very stiff, and I think the purpose behind it is to have a kind of like a very boxy vest. But I really, 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 really wanted a more cozy feeling vest.
A little more flowy,
more flowy. Yeah. So I actually ended up, doing that instead. And I like it. I'm a little worried about the sizing though, because even though I am making a much, much smaller size than what I should, I'm worried that it maybe grew a bit too much. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So.
I think it's awesome. It's a really, really cool project. It's
and that's why I've been very distracted. And like you said, I already knew.
You've already made one, so you're ahead of me. This is my first. This is your second. I am already wearing a Suki Slipover that Gea made. I put it on today because I think the color is so fun and fab.
And look at us with our little green and blue.
We are such a good match.
But how far along are you guys with your Sukis? Because, and we need to also figure out what we're gonna do in Craft and Chat after we return from this. Yeah, because I know there's gonna be a few quiz events coming up. Yes. Instead of Craft and Chat, so that we can balance.
We promised Matt that he would get a shot at doing a bit more quizzy. After we got to do a bit more knitty. Yeah. We were like, trade you?
So he's probably going to do about 4-ish weeks of quiz time.
Gives me time to finish this because I think realistically in this session and then...
No. We will finish this before that happens.
You think so?
Yes, we have to. We have to really mobilize ourselves. We have to knit in our lunch breaks. We have to knit in our sleep. We have to knit all the time. We have to make we have to call each other.
And just knit together.
And just have a daily 15-minute
little knit
session.
Yeah. I mean, I do most of it on my commute, which is really, really nice because it passes the time so nicely.
Yeah.
So that's, and it's a really good come down after work as well.
That's why I wish I could commute with a proper
with
train
transport where you would be able to, yeah.
Oh my god, I would get so much knitting done.
Yeah. Unless, so for right before and around Easter there was a lot of problems with the trains where at the worst time I was going home and it ended up taking me an hour and 20 minutes longer than normal, and bear in mind my commute is already normally an hour and 10 minutes, so it took me 2.5 hours to get home. I left the studio here saying to Matthias wish me luck, I hope I catch my train because it'd be really annoying if I had to hang around the central station for an hour waiting for the next one. And then I got to the central station and it was just how would you like no trains? How would you like a replacement bus that you then have to wait in line for? And it took forever. I got home, I walked through my door around midnight and I almost I walked in, fell on my bed. I was
oh.
So that day, and on the replacement bus, still managed to knit 2 rows. Because that's exactly the length of time that I had, kind of.
Aww. Well, speaking of 2 rows, I also managed to knit about, I think it was 3 rounds in total, or 2 rounds as well, on my commute. But check this out, right? I had my knitting project on the side because so I commute from the countryside to the city, right? And I get to a point where I enter in the city, and then there's just this long stretch, this really, really long stretch where I have, I don't know how many red lights, a lot of red lights, at least.
Oh, you've told me this.
I like to think at least 7 red lights in total, if not more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, there's 10 red lights. 10 red lights. So I just started knitting a bit.
On every red light.
On every red light. Even if it just like, you know, I was just like looking around being like, okay, I'm getting 3 stitches in. That's good enough for Jazz. Oh, it's still red. Okay. It's like, oh, it's yellow. Okay.
Imagine, I'm sorry, imagine you're in the car next to her and you look over and there's just a lady knitting. And you're just like, what? Or imagine being stuck behind someone who isn't...
I was so scared that it was the police at some point.
Like, imagine being next to or behind someone on a red light, and then it turns green and they don't react immediately, and you're in a hurry, so you get like... And then you overtake and you realize that lady's just putting away her knitting real quick.
But I was actually so self-conscious about making sure that I don't mess around with the traffic.
Yeah, of course.
So I would actually I wouldn't look at my knit. I think I look at my knit out of...
It's because you have got skills. I couldn't. I have to look at my knits like this. It's also really funny because when I crochet, I tend to work like down here a lot. Like I'm very used to kind of like crocheting with like my project in my lap, and with my knitting, I'm up here. I'm like very much like watching it a lot more closely because you gotta.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So I'm super self-conscious. So that's why I actually don't. I would just do it a little bit because even though it's 10 red lights in total, and maybe I would say about 20 minutes worth, I would only get 2 rounds because I would just do like a little bit and then...
I mean...
Also, it's bad. It's really bad. It's like texting while you're waiting at a red light. So I think that it was probably the last time I was going to do it. Because not because I think I would actually be a menace, but more like I don't want to get a fine. If the police sees me, they're going to fine me. But technically, is there any laws?
I think technically the law is probably something like you must be like consciously aware and paying attention to traffic at all times.
I am.
And I think they wouldn't believe you. They'd probably just say like, no, you weren't.
I would be like, yes, I was.
Like, ask me anything. Ask me the color of every car that passed me.
Ask me the color of the red light. Ask me the color of the green. No, I'm joking. But yeah,
be safe, everyone, and you especially.
Maybe there is no policy like that. So maybe I could, or like with a smaller project, or like with a crochet project or something, you know.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it with a crochet project just because I need to, like, most of my projects require me to count, like, either be aware which row I'm on or count which stitches I've done. So a lot of times I would just be, I need to, like, once I've finished with this, not now that once I have finished with this, I do want to challenge myself to a larger crochet project as well. Because I do think it'd be really nice to do a crochet project similar to this, where you just you close the round and then you just keep going, where you don't constantly have to be counting every single stitch you do. You just have to finish a round, another round, or something like that, just to get kind of more into that groove, because I think it'd be really nice. Because every single project I do, because a lot of them are kind of smaller, so it's always like, well, I'm going to do 15 stitches and then I need to increase, or I'm going to do like every 6th row I do an increase, and therefore I need to always track where my rows are. Whereas with this, it's been so nice because it's just knit until you reach this amount of centimeters, then you do this, then knit until you reach this amount of centimeters, then you do this. So it's really nice because even if I go over or under by 1, it's kind of like, I mean, you know, the proportions aren't 1000% exactly right at the end. Blocking will fix it.
Oh, if Erica would hear you right now.
Praying to the blocking mats, honestly.
You should see Erica yesterday. She was deciding on, because she was working on other projects, so she's a little bit behind on this vest that we're making. And yesterday she was deciding on which needles she should make it on. If it should be like the original ones from the pattern, or if it should be different ones, right? And it's just insane. It's like it's to the last micromillimeter that she has to match the gauge, and
I mean that is incredible.
Makes crazy calculation, and then she's like, okay, I want to use the same needles as you because I like the fabric more when the fabric is squishier. but even if I make the smallest size in the pattern, that's still too many stitches. And therefore I need to, she needed to recalculate the whole pattern to make it an even smaller size. It's crazy.
For me, I know the way I work my projects, I am my own, like, my own customer service agent's worst enemy. Like,
you're very goblin core.
I'm very goblin core. I still love that that's a thing. I still love that that's a thing. If you haven't already, treat yourself to Skin and Tell, our podcast, which hosted by
me,
this lady, this absolute treasure trove of awesome information and fun facts. And yeah, Goblin Core, amazing. It's because there's something about it that, like, yes, I am a goblin. And I am going to embrace my goblinness.
You do more. That. You do and that. More.
And it's just...
She's gonna embrace her goblinness. Please fix my mistakes in my pattern. So for those of you who don't know, of course, I'm explaining it in the podcast, but Goblin Core is an actual knitting and crocheting style that's pretty much sweeping social media at the moment, where the idea is to just you do you, boo, kind of ignore your mistakes and pick the ugliest colors and combine them together, and don't stick to the same stitch.
Knit your stitches on purpose.
Drop your stitches
create
on
ladders
purpose.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Make intentional German short rows that leave big holes in your projects, and so forth. It's a lot of fun. I see some fun projects coming out of it, and I think it's pretty cool. But it's very youngish at heart, you know. Yes. It's kind of like rebellious. It's kind of
and it, I think, very much lends itself to a lot of the Gen Z fashion that you see as well.
Yeah.
Where it goes with, like, some of the colors that are really trendy right now, some of the styles that are really trendy right now. So I think something like a really kind of ripped sweater, or like a really holy sweater and stuff,
very grungy.
Is going to go along really well with that. Whereas if you're more into a very sort of classic,
if you're a millennial like we
style,
are, that doesn't go.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, I wear ripped jeans, and that's kind of where it stops for me.
I have stains all the time on my clothes.
That too. Me too. I did accidentally. While I was cleaning, because I was using bleach, I accidentally stained one of my favorite sweaters. My beautiful Taylor Swift Eras Tour sweater now has a little bleach stain at the front. And I am considering actually doing, like, bleach painting.
Yeah.
I'm kind of considering maybe I'll just do a little floral design that just, like, kind of sneaks up for, like, a little bit to just make it look more intentional. It doesn't bother me that much, but it's just kind of a shame.
Also, I would go full on. I would go like cheap. Full grungy.
I thought about that as well. But so the front doesn't have print of my sweater, right? So the front is just a, like, dark gray, really nice kind of dark gray color. Mm-hmm. And the back has a print on it. Mm-hmm. And so which is like white or cream. So I'm a bit unsure, because of course if you bleach a dark fabric, it's going to turn orange. So I'm not sure. Yeah, kind of that, like like somewhere in between these two colors.
True. Oh, sorry about that, guys.
And, like, I don't want to risk necessarily it then the print kind of disappearing completely or something. So I'm working on it. I'm finding like a way to cover up my mistake. And I will never wear that sweater cleaning the bathroom again. Because it also already had a grease stain, a small one. But that one I got out despite having accidentally thrown it into the dryer once with the grease stain, which you're not supposed to, because that sets it, because the heat kind of almost bakes it into the fabric. I still managed to get it out by soaking it with a lot of detergent and dishwashing liquid.
Dishwashing liquid does miracles, actually.
Yes. We sound so domestic. This is a very millennial. This is very like let's talk about cleaning products.
Yes.
Don't you hate it when you're cleaning your bathroom, you're giving it a proper deep clean, and then you accidentally sprinkle some bleach onto your clothing?
Onto your Taylor Swift.
Until your Taylor Swift sweater.
Yep. It is what it is. It is what it is. But that's why I'm also like, you know, I feel like my intention now is to really set aside, okay, I have a wardrobe now. These are the elements in my wardrobe. This is my junk clothes. I can use this for when I clean. And this is my stay-at-home clothes, which are really destroyed at the moment. I have like 3 sweatpants and they're all like just disgusting, as in like they're just used and abused, you know, because I've had those. I've been wearing them constantly during my maternity leave. I wouldn't wear anything else. Like I think the first time I wore jean after giving birth was like after 4 months or 5 months or something.
Yeah, so why would you wear a blouse when you're hanging out with your newborn at home? Like,
exactly.
Necessarily.
A silky blouse.
Like, just me and Albert enjoying ourselves, and me in my perfectly ironed like silk blouse. Like, I mean, you might if you.
Why not?
You know, some days you just wake up and you feel like, you know what, I'm going to like.
That's not me.
Make an effort today, or I'm going to like wear something really nice today. I have it occasionally that I like wake up like on a day where I don't have to leave the house. Like obviously if I go to the office, I wear a black turtleneck because like genuinely I looked at myself in the mirror at one point wearing a black turtleneck and I thought she looks chic. And so that's why I've stuck with it. And Matt made fun of me once because chic. I was once here, I think 4 days in a row, and Matt saw me every single day. And on the 4th day, he just kind of went like, "You've been wearing that turtleneck every day this week." And I was like, "Joke's on you. I have been wearing 4 different turtlenecks this week. They're just all black and like almost the exact same style. Like this one compared to the one I had on Tuesday, this one is a little tighter. The Tuesday one is my like widest one, and then I have one that's a little bit more see-through. So and then I have a 4th one that kind of sits in between those. Like that's kind of actually the one that I think probably fits best. And so just, you know, I also have a red one and a brown one and a striped one.
But turtlenecks are cute.
Because it's so low
they
effort.
Are chic.
You don't have to iron them. Well, at least mine you don't have to, because they have like enough elastane in them to have like that. And they do look like you made more of an effort than like a t-shirt does. Kind of. I mean, depends on the t-shirt, I guess. But you know.
Speaking of ironing, and speaking of ironing, and colors of turtlenecks and such. Have you noticed ever that sometimes some particular... Wait, let me rephrase the question.
Okay.
Do you have your turtlenecks almost all from the same place?
No.
Or have you bought 2 from the same place?
Yes, I have bought 2 from the same place, but the others are from like different brands. They've also
and
been bought over the course of a few months.
The 2 that you've bought from the same place, are they the same color?
No, but they're the same style-ish.
Okay. Okay. It's because I bought, I went all in with these like simple crew neck kind of like
also very
H&M.
Nice.
Is that a fat saying though? I think so.
I can't see it.
You see it there?
Oh yeah, I can see it on camera. I didn't notice it in person.
Right? It's really weird.
Yeah, it could be a little grease stain.
I gotta go and I gotta put some just soap
one up here
and one up there.
Sorry.
Anyway, this is like the second time I've worn this.
Oh no.
So I probably just did that the first time I wore it because I washed this last week and it was clean.
It happens, honestly.
But I noticed that some colors are way, way softer than others.
Yes. Yes.
And it brought me back to the thought of how yarn absorbs dye in general. So a lot of the times it's actually not about the fabric itself, about the yarn in its raw, pure form itself. It's more actually the dye.
Yeah, the pigment. And then how some pigment interacts differently with different materials.
Yeah.
So you could get like a dark pigment that'll make some fabrics really, really like hardened almost a little bit.
Yeah.
And stuff, but then on a different material, it won't have that same effect for some reason because that material just absorbs the dye slightly differently. It's so fascinating.
I noticed that a lot.
Nerdy.
Yeah, and I noticed that a lot with the kit silks that we've been working on, because these 3 kit silks they have a different feel. So if you touch the red one, it has a certain feel.
Yeah.
This one is very soft, your brown
this one is super soft.
And this one is like almost the same as this one.
Yeah.
And I think, or my theory, because I have no clue, my theory is that the brown has more... I mean, I don't even know if when you create like the synthetic dyes, they have to come from something natural at some point.
I guess,
or
at least some pigments, right? So it's like you'd probably blend them together with like some of the like primary colors or something, right?
Exactly. So I'm like, you know, maybe because these are more unnatural colors.
Yeah.
You don't really see these. I mean, you do see green a lot in nature, but
but green dye isn't something that's like because I looked into it once for quiz time ages ago, where we decided to do the whole thing green. And I discovered that actually if you want to dye stuff green, that's actually not super easy, because a lot of green plants will actually end up giving you a blue orange or brown result. Rather
or
than
yellow.
Just green, exactly. So a lot of like you can take a green plant, but once you put it together to create a dye. So I actually found that is one of the harder dyes to kind of do. Okay. Whereas like with red, you're going to find a lot more pigments that give you red tones, etc. I found that really interesting, but I don't 100% remember all of it anymore, because this was probably more than a year ago now. But I found it really interesting. And I talked to a colleague, actually, someone who worked in the German stores.
Yeah. And
I don't remember exactly what her background was. I think it was her dad who came from textile industry, who had been a textile dyer.
Okay.
And so we were talking about it, and she said, no, but what a lot of people don't understand is that the difference from one batch to the other, you could use the exact same pigment, but if the pipes have just aged by a few more months and there is a little bit more mineral buildup in the pipes and therefore in the water, that will immediately change your dye result.
Exactly.
So that means that even if you dye one day and then the next day you dye again, and there's just been a slight change somewhere on a pipe, some metals was scratched and there's now a little bit more iron in the water, boom, completely different result, despite everything else remaining the same.
Insane.
I found it so fascinating. I mean, she probably also overstated that a little bit, but then the differences are kind of like a professional would immediately notice.
Yeah.
Me, probably not.
I think I would notice it, because I'm very like...
You have a lot of attention to detail.
I have like a ridiculous amount.
I don't. I sometimes just flip around the row in the middle of my project.
That's just because you're not used to it. Please don't be so harsh on yourself.
I'm not. But I'm making the best out of this, and I mean,
look at this
now
part.
That you
so
fixed
nicely
it,
knitted.
No. Because that's like two of the rows, or the rows that you had to do because you were fixing it.
No, but the thing is also like with
cute.
You know, the industry standard for colors is the Pantone, right?
Yeah,
the Pantone
that's kind of
colors.
what everyone uses.
And it's because with Pantone colors, you are gonna get a uniform result each single time. But the question is exactly that.
Yeah.
If other elements are slowly starting to influence.
Yeah, because that's the thing. And especially we were talking about this, I mentioned it on live shopping a few weeks ago, because we had recycled cotton on live shopping. Yeah. And that's a different thing again, because your raw material changes from every batch to the other, because of course if you're using recycled fibers, what are the chances that you're going to get 500 of the exact same t-shirt to repurpose? Low. Also, those t-shirts, they're like post-consumer, so they've been washed and worn to different degrees, right? So each and every fiber in that is going to be a little bit different. And then imagine you do one batch and then 6 months later you do another batch. So many factors change. So of course, like with recycled yarns, a lot of time your raw material is completely different between one batch and the next. How are you supposed to guarantee an exactly same result? You can always just try to do it right as best as you can.
Yeah, and that's why actually it's this sounds a little silly, but silly as in this sounds a little bit maybe exaggerated, but that is why you are supposed to buy if you see a yarn that you like, do buy, you know, buy yourself enough. because you never know where you're gonna, you know, buy yourself the amount of yarn you need. It's not specifically hoarding, it's just making sure that you have that. Because I've seen a lot of people 2-3 months after they buy a yarn, they're like, oh, I'm
need to
almost
reorder and I need the same dye lot.
Exactly. Who has this dye lot? And then drama, nobody has it, and then they end up having to pay even more than what they initially bought the yarn for, because some Susie
reseller somewhere price gouging.
It's like, okay, again, you know, she really needs it, or he really needs this lot, so double the price, boom. And it's actually kind of silly. It really is kind of silly. I had actually that happen to me with a sweater that I was making, a red sweater, where I had finished almost the entire thing minus one sleeve and then the edge on the bottom on the other, and then I thought somebody from the office would have, this is getting off, I thought somebody from the office would probably have some leftover from that lot, but everybody had the following lot. So I had to frog the whole thing and think to myself, okay, I'm gonna do something else out of this yarn.
Did you?
No, I actually ended up giving the yarn to Erica because I was like, I cannot be bothered.
No.
Like, I know that I'm not gonna have enough for a project that is my size. If it's a vest, maybe, but I don't want another thick vest because So I was just like, just have it.
It's always so like heartbreaking when something like that happens. And I mean, of course, like. And of course,
it is also my fault because I could have calculated better.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't know. Like sometimes you just it's through no fault of your own, and it's just a shame because then you've spent so much time and effort and love.
And in my defense as well, I did have, so I had 10 skeins at home, and I had 10 skeins at the office by my desk. So I was convinced that I had enough.
Yeah.
And it was right before Christmas break, actually, because that was the purpose of making a red sweater. I wanted to have like a red sweater for Christmas.
Very festive.
Very festive. But, and then I was like sure that I was going to have enough to make it because I have 10 more skeins at the office.
Yeah.
Turns out different lot.
Ouch.
Yeah. It is what it is.
And it's the thing is like, is also depending on what's missing, right? Like if you realize, oh, this isn't going to be enough, but you haven't done the sleeves yet, then you can be like, cool. I might just make it intentional and do striped sleeves or something, you know, like change my plan and do like, cool, so now I'm going to do a few rows with the one lot, a few rows with the other, a few rows with the other, and then I'm going to do the sleeves striped. So then, boom, it looks like a striped sweater. It looks intentional.
Yeah.
But if you realize when you've got one sleeve done and all you need to do is like ribbing and one sleeve, I mean, you can still work in the color block thing, but it really depends on the design. Are you still going to be able to make it work? And so...
Do you remember what size I was making? Was I making 130? The third size? And you were making the second size?
No, I'm making the third size. I think you're... Yes, I'm making a large. I did 130.
Really?
Yeah. And I think you are doing one bigger than that, if I'm not completely mistaken, because you made this one bigger. And I think you decided to make it one smaller than what you did with this.
This is why you need a knitting journal.
Yeah, we can quickly pull up the old Craft and Chat on YouTube and see how many you cast on.
But I think that we have to wrap it up because technically speaking, if we don't finish now, you will not make it for your petty.
My train.
This girl has to go get a pedicure.
Yes. Highly
I
recommend.
haven't had a pedicure or a manicure done in years. No, I'm lying. In a year and a half, maybe.
I
do it myself, but...
Neither have I, but it was the only, like, my nail artist. She's amazing. She's very busy. So it was the only... And I think she also only gave me, like, I asked her specifically, and she was like, yeah, I can kind of add you on after my last appointment. But then I have to hustle to
But
get
on that
there.
note, actually...
Well,
I have added a few extra surprises for those of you guys who are sticking until the end. So if you're at CC10, you can get your hands on 10% off on some surprise products. So write CC10. We're going to send you a link to obviously our Craft and Chat landing page, and then apply CC10 if it's not already applied to get a little extra something.
Discount.
A little something.
And for those of you watching on YouTube, we're going to add the link for you.
Oh, yeah.
So that you have it in the chat. So that you can also find it, because CC10 isn't going to work for you to type in the chat.
Yeah. So, yeah. That was it. That's pretty much it.
I completely lost track of time. I need to finish this row because we know what happened last time.
Yeah, but the thing is that...
It's going to take a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't want it. Like, I'm afraid of doing it on the train, like, or leaving it and then picking it up on the train.
No, you will do good now.
Because I know that it's a mistake that I've made in the past. You're right.
I'm so proud that your purling.
My purling has come so far. This is genuinely amazing. I'm sorry that this is such a short one. I will have better time management for the next one, so we can do it.
So in the next one, we're gonna do the decreases,
and then.
So
one thing,
and I will also be.
One thing I will need you to teach me, and I think next time is when we're going to get there, is because I don't know. I'm almost at the end of my skeins. Yeah. I need to learn how to start with a new skein on my project. That's one thing we still need to do, because also I think for a lot of these coming up, I'm gonna have to because I'm gonna have to start attaching yarn
and
in
cutting
places and cutting. Yeah. And so I hope, I know that that's going to be what we're going to focus on next time, because that's I think the last skills that I need. The last skills that I need to do this project, and then pick up for the ribbing. So those are the last few things I need to learn, and then we'll be good to go. Thank you so much for joining, everyone, for this shorty. We're going to make the next one extra long to compensate. I've just decided. I love that. I love that. Because one of us has a baby at home that she needs to get back to. One of us just booked a late appointment, for one time. So, and I'm just deciding, next time you're gonna hang in there with me.
I mean, maybe next time I'm gonna run and then you can stay longer.
Exactly. But then I can just do a long one.
No, but we will figure it out, and I think that it's more than fair, because I'm also a bit behind. So I think that in the next one we're gonna start on the decreases. That's a great episode, so that you guys can see how to do the decreases, and I'm hoping that we will finish in the next 2 sessions the whole vest.
Yes.
So that's gonna be a lot of fun.
It will.
And yeah, Matt is waiting for you guys to do some quiz time at some point, I think 3 weeks from now. And we do have some really fun crochet projects coming up with Craft and Chat very, very soon. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Remember, CC10.
CC10 in the chat to get a link to our little landing page with some little exclusive deals for you. And thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah. Next Tuesday. Next week, you can join me for live shopping. And bingo on Monday with Regina. And on Monday, oh my gosh, turn in for bingo, to enjoy a lovely time with our wonderful colleague, Regina. It's going to be Regina's first session, so you guys are going to absolutely love her. She is so much fun. She's such a sweetheart, and I think that, you guys are going to have a lot of fun. Yes. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your week, great weekend, and see you very soon. Bye. Bye.